Hello everyone and welcome to His Author's Voice, and I am the author, Jack Sanger. I present to you now a curious little tale from my autobiography, part of the occasional series under the heading I Could Have Been a Shaman, and this one is called Shapeshifting, and I hope you like it. Shapeshifting. Some shamans are shapeshifters. That is the myth or alternative reality. But shapeshifting conjures up werewolves and witches becoming cats or ravens, and the acolytes of the devil doing his handiwork. Another way of thinking of shapeshifting is to imagine changing who you are into someone else. Psychologically, it is difficult enough. Many people think that your character remains the same throughout life, that you are a single character entity, a self. More modern thought on the subject suggests you have many selves and can move between them, at worst forced to do so by some form of schizophrenia, perhaps. A good question, one that has plagued the entire history of human thought, is, who am I? Sit back in an armchair and shut your eyes. Ask the question. It is a very slippery internal operation. It is only partially answered by statements such as, I am what I do, or this is my physical description, and I'll add a few nods in the direction of characteristics, such as the awfully cliched, I've got a good sense of humour. But digging down into the substrata of whom you might be is a long process of psychoanalysis. It's a bit like night sight. We glimpse who we are out of the corner of our thinking, but can't focus on it because immediately we do, it disappears like a daydream. Yet there is hope. We are stuck with a name at birth. As we grow up, our parents, siblings and friends tend to condition us to be fixed by the name. They associate acts, thoughts and speech with the character of that name, one that they have constructed for you. There is a widespread distrust of individuals acting out of character. They are regarded as willful, unpredictable, untrustworthy. You never know where you are with her. My story takes on these societal embargoes, blinkers, criticisms, fears. It begins when I'm 4 years old. I was born in India and my British parents brought me to England on a long sea voyage at the end of the Second World War. During that time I lost bilingualism. No Urdu when I arrived. Crucially, also, no memories of India. I've returned, of course, but nothing stirred. So it was like being born aged 4 years old. Nothing before that. England at this time was freezingly cold following my naked childhood in the sun. How did my parents keep me warm? I was parked all day in the projection room of the Odeon cinema where my godfather was organist. I watched the films roll by like the child in Cinema Paradiso. Other worlds, other characters. A life in the imagination. I also wore spectacles and had the feeling they were like a translucent wall between me and the world. They made me a bit withdrawn and cautious. I used to go to watch European cinema in Newcastle in my mid-teens, and walked the 6 miles home after the last bus along the famous Scotswood Road. I identified with these celluloid characters and their travails. I stored the experiences in some inexplicable way. Then an event occurred which is most relevant to this tale. I went to a teacher's college. I entered the men's hostel where I was to live for the first year or so. The first friendly soul I met asked, "Hi, I'm Pete, and you are?" I started to say the name that had been my clothes hanger for 18 years, Eric. Managed to get the out, but then changed it and said, Jack, which is my middle name. No one had ever called me Jack. Within an hour, everyone called me Jack, of course. Now this was interesting. Who was Jack? I flipped from my previous self to new self with every minute that passed. I invented my biography just enough to suit the new name. Jack was outgoing. He acted in theatre, was at ease with girls, told jokes, dressed, very quickly, in a more beatnik way, became part of a coterie of similar characters, rock and rollers, pleasure seekers, actors in waiting. It wasn't really that difficult. This other me was waiting to come out. With it were new ambitions far removed from Eric's supposed ideal of being a teacher for life. I realized that strength lay in independence and a certain marginality, a separateness from the norm. Create a niche for yourself and you can go far, even in the remarkably conventional careers within academia. Nothing seemed that impossible. The early life in a projection room was picked up like a loose thread by running a research project into children and then their use of videos and computer games, one of the first qualitative studies of its kind. I was invited to be an external advisor at the British Board of Film Classification to help monitor how children's and other viewers' films might be classified. I was there for 10 years. Apart from a rich life of unusual research projects, I became a consultant in EU projects in exotic Uzbekistan, Russia, Bulgaria, and many others. All the while feeling at home as this Jack figure capable of a degree of camouflaging to fit in, picking up cultural clues quickly, shifting my ways of working to fit the circumstances. And after a long, ever-moving career, I'm retired now, but doing what I always wanted, writing. Like this piece I'm presenting to you. 2 years ago, in lockdown, I wrote a song for my guitar called Marlena. It was a eulogy to a great actress. 2 verses go like this. I sit here alone when Blue Angel is shown. I can't move until the cinema is still, the curtains pulled tight, the turned down house lights. Marlena, 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 oh. I'm not out of my mind, my heart is not blind. For one day, my queen, you'll step from the screen, and in hot-blooded bliss, you'll wake to my kiss. Marlena, 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 oh. What drove the writing of it? The fact that time is elastic, and because it is, our personalities can't be fixed, if we don't want them to be. The past can provide blinkers, muzzle, bridle and bit, or it can be a stepping off point to worlds we might never encounter without taking a risk and trying on different shoes. It's a form of shape-shifting. There. An intensely personal story from my biography. I hope you enjoyed it and found that it had some kind of possible meaning for you in your lives. So, if you want to hear more of my podcasts, particularly the complete short stories with the twists at the end, you can continue on this website. And if you want to read my books, novels, short stories, plays, and even some Zen non-fiction, then try my site, which is www.jacksanger.com. You might find what you've been missing. That's all for now. Bye-bye.